This is a lecture from OpenTuition. To benefit from the lecture, you should download the free lecture notes from opentuition.com.
Okay, so let's just go through and finish off with a couple of housekeeping points just at the end. Okay, I think there's 4 things to go through there and look at. Some of them will be examined numerically, some of them will just be some form of written aspect maybe in section C or a multiple choice element, okay, in section A or section B. So mid-year acquisition, I think it is the more important of them all. So when you're looking at the acquisition of a subsidiary, I think in all the examples we've seen so far, it was either required at the start of the year or at the end of the year. So to work out the retained earnings at acquisition is really straightforward, because you will have prepared a statement of financial position at the end of the year or at the start of the year, okay, which is last year's closing retained earnings. However, if we've acquired the subsidiary part way through the year, then we're unlikely to have a statement of financial position that has been prepared. Okay, so we need to work out the retained earnings. The retained earnings at acquisition. Why do we need those retained earnings at acquisition? Well, we need the net assets at acquisition. And we work out the net assets in working 2, taking the share capital, adding on the retained earnings, isn't it? Okay, so we need the retained earnings. How do we get it? Well, what we're going to go through and do there is we make a simple assumption. We assume that any profits that the subsidiary has made will accrue evenly during the year. Okay, so therefore what we can then do is we can then prorate those profits, and then we can say, well, look, we acquired the subsidiary halfway through the year, 6 months into the year. We can take the retained earnings at the start of the year and add on 6 months of the profits to work out our retained earnings at acquisition. Or, alternatively, you can look at your retained earnings at year end and then deduct 6 months to get us to the retained earnings at the date of acquisition. So just keep an eye out on that. It can be quite tricky. Uniform accounting policies, I'm not really too worried about that. Again, it's just a small housekeeping point. S must adopt the parent accounting policies, but note that's in the group accounts. It's in the group accounts where we need to make the adjustment. The subsidiary doesn't need to physically change its accounting policies in the individual accounts, but there must be an adjustment when we consolidate it. Okay. And all we do is a little bit similar to your fair value adjustments that we've seen previously. We adjust the value of the assets and liabilities by debiting or crediting them, and then the other side goes to working 2. Okay, adjusting the retained earnings, because therefore that's then adjusting the net assets at the reporting date and potentially at acquisition. Coterminous year ends. In an ideal world, this is the parent's year end, that's the subsidiary's year end. In reality, the year ends might be different. Okay, what you've got there is that you can still consolidate them as long as it is within 3 months of the parent's year end. That's deemed to be not too significant to cause any lack of relevance and usefulness within the accounts. However, if there are any significant financial events that have happened, then we need to adjust for them. Okay, and then finally what you've got there, non-consolidation. So you have a subsidiary, it's consolidated whereby you have control. Well, it's not consolidated if the subsidiary is held for sale. It will just be shown as a discontinued operation and a non-current asset held for sale. And then if there are any restrictions that are in place, so some form of written aspect into the acquisition agreement whereby the parent cannot exercise control. It's not just about owning greater than 50%. You need that power to direct the activities. And if there's something in there that says somebody else on the board of directors or some other shareholders have the casting vote or can go through there and make the decisions, then we do not have control. So you just need to be a little bit careful there. Don't worry. It's unlikely to be a question trying to trick you and say, look, you've got this company here. We own greater than 50%. Here's all the information to prepare the consolidated financial statements. And you're like, all right, great. Yeah, let's prepare the group account. Bing, bing, bing. And then someone comes out the exam and says, you didn't need to do it. Like, why? We couldn't exercise control. That would just be a little bit fruitless, wouldn't it? Okay. So just have an awareness of it. So don't get too worried or stressed or het up about any of those points there. I think the one that you do need to focus on is that mid-year acquisition. And we drew your attention to that right early on, didn't we? Because we said in working number 1, the group structure, make sure that you go through there and note the acquisition date. Because if you've noted the acquisition date, you can then determine if it is a mid-year acquisition. Okay.